welcome to another edition of the SABC News COVID-19 Global Wrap, where myself, Babalole Phaka, and my colleague Butsisiwa Khatebe bring you highlights of stories which dominated news headlines with regards to the coronavirus. But before we get into it, let us have a look at some stats. Globally, confirmed COVID-19 cases currently sit at over 7.6 million, with over 3.8 million recoveries and over 420,000 deaths. South Africa currently has over 58,000 confirmed cases, over 33,000 recoveries, and over 1,200 deaths.
In South Africa, schooling was short-lived for some students after learners and teachers tested positive for COVID-19 in parts of the country. Despite recorded infections, Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga says learners and teachers are adjusting well to the COVID-19 environment in schools since they reopened on Monday. Judgment in the application brought by the Fair Trade Independent Tobacco Association against the Cooperative Governance Minister, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma's decision to ban the sale of tobacco products during lockdown was reserved in the Pretoria High Court on Wednesday.
Look, I think the FETA has mounted a very compelling challenge. It is startling to my mind that it is actually the minister that sought to rely on the WHO reports and some of the HSRC reports, which actually did not necessarily support the case that they were mounting. In other words, that the WHO itself had found, in fact, that there'd been no peer review literature that goes to show a link between tobacco smokers and eventual death, or a need to, be in ICU or overburdening the healthcare system.
Now on to the rest of the continent. Confirmed COVID-19 cases in Africa are over 219,000, with over 100,000 recoveries and over 5,800 deaths. The World Health Organization says that the COVID-19 pandemic is accelerating in Africa. However, there was no indication that severe cases and deaths were being missed, nor has the virus caused significant infections in refugee camps across the continent. The WHO has added that false information on COVID-19 is spreading and putting people in danger.
COVID-19 is a global crisis, and the whole world is talking about it. But not everything you hear is true. False information is spreading, and it's putting people in danger. For accurate information on COVID-19, find official advice from your country's public health authority or the World Health Organization. Double-check everything you hear against these trusted sources. Stop the spread.
And lastly, the Moroccan government says it will start easing restrictive measures imposed to curb COVID-19 infections, but will delay a full lifting of the state of emergency until the 10th of July. Morocco has been on lockdown since the 20th of March.
In international news, the United States of America has now surpassed over 2 million confirmed COVID-19 cases, with over 800,000 recoveries and over 116,000 deaths. According to a Reuters report, new infections saw a rise after a 5-week decline, partially due to more testing or increased movement and economic activity as all 50 states moved towards gradually reopening. Thousands of people took to the streets in nationwide protests against racism following the death of George Floyd. Health officials have urged protesters to undergo testing and to self-isolate, as the absence of social distancing protocols could possibly lead to a spike in infections in coming weeks. With the world's worst outbreak after the USA, cities in Brazil started to reopen as thousands flocked to malls and shopping centers as part of a scheduled easing of lockdown restrictions. After being identified as the new COVID-19 hotspot, Latin America reached a grim new milestone after exceeding over 700,000 deaths on Wednesday. Mexico on Monday recorded a new daily record of over 4,000 confirmed cases and 708 deaths. In Asia, Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi in India, Manish Sisodia, warned that COVID-19 infections could climb to over 500,000 by the end of July if hospitals are unable to handle mounting cases of the outbreak. And finally, in Europe, a British aircraft interior company is looking into a new personal protection shield that could protect passengers from COVID-19. As seen in a CNN report, the shield-like personal protection window, made from transparent polycarbonate, will be placed within seats and is meant to prevent the risk of droplet transmission.
For the latest updates on the coronavirus, visit sabcnews.com.